Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel, where this week we'll be completing our back garden patio. So welcome to week 2 of doing our patio out our back garden. James's dad has arrived again. This is the following Saturday, so this is probably exactly a week later, and we're completing the rest of the slabs today. So we'll show you what the progress is like so far. We've done a couple, and then there's a couple more to go. This was definitely the more difficult part of the job, working around this manhole. It definitely took a while to get all the small bits right all around. And in fact, we used to have a round manhole, but for the purpose of this job, we actually bought square ones. Here you can see James's dad cutting the pieces to size to fit around the manhole. It was definitely a very noisy and dusty job. This was probably one of the more satisfying parts of the job, as the end was in sight at this point. While James and his dad do the back patio, I'm going to cook. It's the same as last week, and probably do a little bit of cleaning as well. Here is my furry meower watching me wash the dishes as per usual. I don't know if anyone else gets this issue if you have a composite sink, but it tends to get these grey and black marks over, and the only thing that seems to help is a bit of bleach. This is a normal Saturday for me and James, where normally he does something out the back garden and I take to the cooking. And lately James has really been loving chicken wings with Frank's hot sauce, and cooking them in the air fryer is so much easier than putting them in the oven, and they do come out so nice and crispy. We've got to the final part of the project, which is just cementing in between the slabs. I'll be so happy to see it completed and done, because it has been so messy in the back of our garden, and we're constantly bringing in debris and stone, and then I'm having to vacuum, I'm having to mop the floors several times. So I'll be really happy to see this completed and done. It will also give us lots more space to be able to put a table out the back and be able to have a nice barbecue and have people over. The cementing part is often the most tedious part of the job, because it does take quite a while to get the cement in between the slabs, and it's also a very important job because otherwise there is movement in the slabs. I don't think I've yet introduced my furry meower. This is Mumu. He is a tomcat and he's 5 years old. I have had him for 4 years and a half. Mumu always seems to get startled by the drone. I think he's convinced that it must be a creature of some sort. This right here is the side of our home looking into the back of our garden. And this point here was about the end of the project, thankfully. And I don't think it was too bad at all, considering James and his dad have never completed a project like this before. They actually did quite well. So this morning we decided to take off the top of the grass just to give it a better chance to grow. So supposedly this is what you're meant to do, is you're meant to take the tiniest little tip off the grass, and that spurs it to grow even more. So it might look crazy to mow a grass that hasn't yet grown, but this is the best way that it then grows even more. So this is the progress of our grass this far, and the front is not doing as well as the back. On the other hand, the front has less weeds than the back, so we decided to reseed to get rid of the weeds, but the weeds still grew back because the soil wasn't, well, it was screened, but it still had some weeds through it, because screened essentially just means the stones are moved out. So we're going to have to take care of the weeds separately once the grass is more grown and more rooted. This right here is basically my little office where I do a lot of my editing and also where I work. And here you can see me working from home. I generally mostly work from home, and the very rare occasion I actually attend the office. So James is just taking this, what do you call this, babe? Term. And he's putting it along here, just in between the shed and the fence. And then he's going to put some of these stones on. So this right here is sterilized topsoil, which James bought. And you might remember earlier I mentioned that we bought screened soil, and this is the soil that we used for our front garden and back garden when we reseeded. And in hindsight, we really should have used the sterilized soil because it has all of the weeds removed out of it, whereas the other type of soil doesn't. We've filled out this empty patch that runs along our patio here with topsoil. James is just seeding this part now because it was just an empty patch. So all along here we just want to seed and get new grass. And we'll probably be waiting about 2 weeks until it starts to come up. And maybe a full month for it to come up fully. Just using a bit of fertilizer here to help it to grow.
Hi guys, so I thought I'd just give you a quick update on how the grass is doing that we planted along the side of the newly laid patio. We had to dig out about 4 to 6 inches of the garden when we were laying the patio just to give extra space when we were putting the slabs down. So we had to end up then putting new topsoil down and reseeding that part of the lawn. But it's come on really well, so we'll just take you outside and show you that, and also I'll show you the bit that we did around the back of the shed and up the side of the shed with gravel and just laying down weed membrane and putting down some gravel. So it just tidies things up and it makes it a lot easier than having to run around there with a lawnmower in such a tight space. So yeah, a lot less hassle and low maintenance, and that's what we really want. So I'll show you that and just give you a quick look over the patio as well. But unfortunately it's raining outside, so we'll do our best to get a bit of decent footage for you here now. So this is how the patio turned out. The hardest bits obviously were cutting in around those manhole covers, but for 2 complete novices I don't think we did a bad job. It wasn't that level to start off with, the original slabs that were here in place, so we just sort of had to make the best of a not so good situation. But yeah, it turned out pretty good and saved us almost £1,000, so win-win in that way. This is the grass, how the grass has turned out about 10 days after we planted it, so it looks pretty good. Yeah, obviously there's quite a few weeds through the garden here, but we'll deal with those later on. I've also reseeded this little patch beside the planter, so I'm just waiting on the grass to start coming up here as well. But you can start to see little bits of grass coming up. If you get really close here, you'll start to see little tiny shoots coming up, so that means that the grass seed is germinated. So this has been planted about 5-6 days, so it's coming up pretty quickly. But all the rain we've been having in the UK lately has certainly helped the situation. And then around the side of the shed you can see I've just made a little stopper out of 3x2 and then coated it in Lardeck oil, it's called, so it preserves the wood. So I gave it a few coats of that, and then I've just continued up the side of the shed using this weed membrane and then filled it out with gravel, and then that goes all the way around the back. Just makes it a lot easier to maintain, and then out into the garden. So yeah, just keeps it a lot tidier and saves trying to squeeze up here with a lawnmower, and it keeps in the style of the rest of the house as well. We've got the same gravel going up the back of the fence there and then all around the side of our house as well, so yeah, just tidies things up. This is the planter that I've made as well out of I think it's 9x2, and yeah, I'll show you a bit about that some other day.
Thank you guys for watching, and thank you for joining us. Do join us again as we do different things around the house, DIY, gardening, and various other projects.